association with Leeds Spirits. Am I?
Hello, I'm Colin.
How are you today, Colin?
All right, mate. Aye, not bad. Just been watching a bit of snooker. I was waiting on you now. Bit of snooker.
A bit of
The
snooker.
aye,
Aye, we've
I
got
was
no name
wondering, do you,
names, but
came, aye, it's just a throwback to the 90s there. For us two anyway, for nobody else that watches us. Used to be private and joke that nobody would get and nobody would think funny. Um,
come on, what always makes me laugh about that, can you just to go right, is the fact that there was somebody in our class that spoke a wee bit funny, right? And snooker was one of the ones that could have been funny to say, right? And uh, I think I'd asked them to say, go and say snooker. And they went, no, Colin will laugh at me. And I remember thinking, fucking Colin will laugh at you. Like,
would you come asking
get
you
him
for?
away, bullies, fucking school bullies.
I
So
read this.
if you're listening, off chance, I'm very sorry about that. Now, like, I,
Aye,
I regret my actions. It's
I
not
can't remember.
acceptable.
Did she support Hibs? I can't mind.
No idea. No idea.
Um,
Anyway, carry
anyway,
on with your story.
snooker. Aye, snooker. Right. See when the boy puts his hand down on the table. Oh, this is for anybody watching on YouTube that it's a snooker fanatic, right? When they put their hand in on the table and they've got
Yep.
the cue goes over the thumb like that, right? A few of them have been doing this thing, got on camera, with their tapping their
Oh, aye,
finger.
they get like a wee
What are they
trigger
doing?
finger. I don't
Why are
know.
they doing that? That's the question.
Don't
That's
know.
the question
Maybe it
for the
just settles
listeners.
the nerve. I wanted to ask this question, and I think what's that group? I think snooker would be easier if you had like a laser sight, kind of like when you're playing
You did
Call of
this.
Duty, and you have like a rifle scope on it. Would that make it easier or harder to play snooker?
You still got a cue.
Aye, it's on top of the queue. Like,
What's on
imagine like
top
you
of
kind
it?
of got the queue, but instead of
Right.
looking just down the line of the queue, you maybe have the sight is maybe going on to wherever you're hitting the ball.
I don't know. I don't know. But another one. That's the second question for the listeners. If they can answer the tappy middle finger one first, then
Aye.
the laser one second. That would be ideal.
Anyway, right. Well, so we're live for the Crucible tonight. If you're wondering. Right, we'll get stuck into it. First of all, we've got John McGlynn saying, all right, guys. Kenny Whitson, evening, guys. Stevie, evening, Matty and Colin. Hope you're well. Thanks again, Matty, for the tickets for yesterday. Well, it's actually thanks to Leith Spirits who provided tickets for us, Stevie. But you're glad you enjoyed the game. Steve said, the snooker's brilliant. This young kid is unreal. Green Tay said, evening, guys. Great result for the ladies today and the guys yesterday. Yes, the ladies
Mm.
beat Hearts 3-1 today
Yeah.
in the derby, which is tremendous. Put them top of the league as well, I think.
Well, they were
Uh,
top anyway, but it's kept
yep.
them top.
Ian says now a subscriber, and he's just retracted that message. So maybe he was a subscriber for a brief moment, and he's not
As
anymore.
long as we get the £2, £3, whatever it is, it doesn't matter.
Ian, get subscribing. Ronnie said, hi, bangers. Great result yesterday. And I thought we played some really good stuff. Stevie said, brilliant result yesterday. We should have had that done by half time. I had 3-1 and 3-2 as bets. Once we went 2 up, I placed 5-0 and 6-0 also. Gail's header won me a bet, though. Delighted. Sandy said, hey, come on, the Hibs, fantastic. Maybe second next season, evening long bangers, GGTH. And Ron said, well done to Hibs women, great result today and a good game. So Colin, we'll start on yesterday's game team lineup. So we were almost kind of reverted to type of going back to the team that was lining up with the exception of O'Hara keeping his place for instead of Lewis Miller. But Kukovic came back into the team and Hoylett came back
Yeah.
into the team. How were you feeling about the lineup when you saw it?
I was all right with it. I mean, again, I think I expected Miller to come back in. Admit to that. Because if it was just an illness thing, I assumed he would just come back in. But I thought O'Hara was good in the game. I thought he was played well. So fine with that one. Hoylett, I suspected he would come in for Campbell, and we never done a previous show on Friday. Apologies for everybody. That was me painting an offence and totally forgetting that I was meant to be doing it until he texted me saying, "You're right for four," and I was like, um, but in the team that I'd picked, I did have Hoylett in just because a home game picking. He's good at picking the. He's more attacking player, isn't he,
Hmm.
than Campbell? I know Campbell gets forward, but it's a different type of creativity, I think, or uh, more creativity. And I couldn't decide on the striker in my team. I had went, will it be Kukurevich? Because Gray likes him. Will I bring Bowie in? But Bowie seems to be better off the bench. I even considered playing Gill. But so I wasn't surprised and I was fine with it.
Aye, I kind of expected him to go back to it. I think for all it wasn't a bad performance last week against Aberdeen, we'll not dwell on that. It wasn't a great performance either, and we looked a wee bit disjointed. So I think the sort of natural thing for a manager today is go back to what works, and
Yeah,
he did that, and I thought the lineup looked fine. I think there's always going to be, because of the perception, I think there's always going to be a question mark around Miko when he starts. Like I think that's just what he's got. He's got a couple of games left this season now to change that perception, and but I think he'd done enough in the last few games that we've seen him that I was quite happy with him starting. We'll talk a wee bit about his performances, but go into it. Um, but I suppose before we drill down into the game, Colin, what were your overall thoughts on it?
I thought we were really good. Like I did, I thought the first half we were really, really good. And it should have been, like somebody said in the comments already, it should have been more than two at half time. And it's one of them where you're thinking, let's not have a half time break. You know what I mean? Like let's carry on. But it should have probably been more than two up at half time. Came out second half. They were all. I mean, they made two subs was at half time. I think they made, and
Yeah, brought two on.
maybe changed shape a wee bit. Obviously had a kick up the arse. So you've got to weather that storm, which we've done, and then just pulled away again for the last probably half hour of the game, maybe 15 minutes. Give them that they were maybe on top. Um, And then we were a better team again. When we made our subs and
Mhm.
improved, like I say, improved the team, and we just freshened it up with quality coming off the bench, because that's what we've got now. How long were we talking about? There's nobody on the bench to bring on. Now that you've got 9 subs here, and you're going, who,
Aye, there's options.
which ones what five will we bring on? So it was, aye, comfortable, deserved, fairly straightforward routine home win again.
Aye, it's it's a fun thing. So I think it's the eighth consecutive home win
I can't
this
remember
season.
that like in year. Like I don't know have you seen when that's the best record since, or is it a record?
No, I haven't looked at it. Maybe do that before we do extra time. Maybe we'll check it and I can come back. No promising to do that because every chance that
Somebody
I
watching.
forgot this part of the conversation by then.
Let's get somebody watching to do it for us. There's folk like doing all that kind of stuff.
Aye, if anybody is watching, you can maybe look it up live for us. What is our longest home winning run? Not an unbeaten run, but a longest home winning run. This team is like a feels like a team of record breakers, doesn't it? Somebody had shared on Hibsnet the form guide over the last 20 games, and we were point for point with Celtic. They were ahead of us on goal
Yeah.
difference, which shows you how good the team has been doing, or how well the team has been doing. Um,
The Critchley supporters didn't say that when they were talking about the Critchley League table, eh? Didn't say Hibs
no,
were top of it?
no, did they mention that? Um, I thought we were excellent. I think that there's times this season where we've been when it clicks for us, we're a total joy to watch, and I thought that on. So I thought against Dundee, I thought it again yesterday. There was times where the play was so sort of fluid, and how we recovered the ball and then transitioned into attack. Like we just controlled the game
You
really,
know,
really well.
see that recovery of the ball, like we said it in the last game, but it was the same yesterday. They were if they lose the ball, there's two, three of them going and
Hmm.
trying to win it back. Sportscene showed a clip last night, which they made a comment about Boyle diving, like because they've got to, but
But it
when
was
he went,
full.
because he gave the ball away and
Aye,
he went, I fucking gave it away. I'm going to go and win this back, and came in where I was sitting. It was right in front of me where he made that, where the boy tripped him up, because the boy caught his ankles. Like
aye,
he wasn't even waiting on the boy pushing him. The boys just clipped him, not deliberate or anything. It was like one of them. Boy got in front of him, knowing that the guy might clip him, but he wasn't. It wasn't like he was standing there
yeah,
waiting on it. So. Uh, that showed the sort of desire in that in the fight in the team, because he gave it away. It was a shit pass
aye.
to give the ball away in the first place.
Well, what I say about that, I use that as an example. Right? We talk about leadership quite a lot on here. It has come up, especially when the team's not doing well, and they
Yeah,
look at kind of where are the leaders on the pitch. But you mind that for earlier in the season,
yeah.
and we've talked about it, and it not necessarily being the shouters. So at that point in the game, Dundee United had scored, and I thought we were rattled by Dundee United's start to the second half. I thought the team for
The
a
fans
period
were.
of time, I think right across the stadium, though, I think everyone went, "Oh fuck, here
Aye.
we go,"
Well, I
because it
was
was
West
so.
Slower. You were
Uh huh.
West Slower. And obviously, was it Leon that was saying it as well? He's over in the east, isn't he?
Aye.
Leon Rice Cakes that fixes my gates and fixes my windows and stuff. The joiner. He so it was all angles that you were hearing it for.
Aye. And they had this nervous, but I thought the team were nervous as well, like, with the amount of misplaced passes. And I said to my son Josh, I said everybody just needs to calm down. I think my old man shouted as well. Can he got frustrated? And I was like, everybody just needs to keep the heat. My dad's just kind of like me as well. I was like, aye, like everybody just calm down. We're a good team. But we needed at that point, I thought we needed more for the players off the ball and a bit more composure on the ball, just to kind of
Mhm.
get a grip of the game again. And Boyle, in that moment, did the leadership bit where he went, "Fuck, I've lost the ball," and he worked like he covered. I can't remember if it must have been on the left hand side, maybe a beater that never made the challenge, and the boy was going past him, and Boyle tracked it back, won the free kick, took the pressure off. But that almost then set the tone for the team. That was Dundee United's like a potential break, like a chance for them to counter,
Yeah.
and we just nipped it in the bud with a bit of kind of hard work.
It's a really
Campbell
good
and
example, though,
uh
isn't it, of when we get all the no leadership comments and no leaders in this team and blah blah blah. When we lose games, that is what we get a lot of comments about, and that there is when I'm saying leadership isn't just standing balling and shouting at
aye,
somebody, and
exactly.
that's one of the examples. David Gray used to be the master at it, just going to put he used to just go and put somebody in there,
Mhm.
and then but that there that kind of battling and showing leading for the front without shouting at anybody, he's just fucking wait and say follow me sort of thing.
Aye,
That's leadership that's better than somebody just berating a fellow player, which is what people seem to want when we're getting beat.
aye. And I mean, fair enough, it was Boyle's mistake in the first place, but
Yeah.
I think it's that you make the mistake, you go and put it right immediately, and then kind of won the free kick, took the pressure off. I can't remember if the subs were on at that point, but Gray's subs were brilliant. I thought yesterday as well. We brought on uh, Campbell at just the right time. Bowie coming on changed the game as well. Campbell thought his first few touches. We talked about it. What's that? First few touches
Aye.
weren't great, but after that, I thought he made a huge difference in the game and
Mhm.
was sort of a key part in the victory. And obviously, Gale getting the goal, Cadden getting the assist when he came on. It was a great start, though. Like it was important. I thought that we started off like a good tempo. I was speaking to our listener Martin and Andy Allen as well before the game uh, about that, about the need to be like get a quick start, can get on the front foot.
Yeah.
No, like Dundee United try to sort of get ahead of the game early doors. First goal's was it a good bit fortunate, you reckon, or do we deserve it because of the quality of the pass for Hoylett?
Well, so the Hoylett passed the Cadden ball across is decent as well. Um, it's a bit fortunate. You've seen Boyle's reaction to it was that sort of hands up in the air. I'll take it reaction. He's definitely counting to 100, by the way,
Oh, I
because when he signalled up to assume the family up in the stand, he signalled the four. I think is he on 96 now?
don't know.
So he's like four. I shoot because he done the four fingers thing, and I thought that's I'm saying four go. So he's definitely ticking them off. I think. Um, it was a wee bit fortunate, but it was really good bit of play for the build up. So,
And then we nearly got a second after that again, just pressing them high up. Like we win the ball almost in their box, right at the edge of their
aye,
box, and we probably should have done a wee bit better with that chance. Like Kukovic shot gets saved, and
aye. Hoyle was straight
Ho-
on me.
aye,
Aye, I agree with that. I think I was going to say that in the summary. I'm just glad that teams are coming to Easter Road with defenders that have been told they're good with the ball at their feet. Like, why do teams persist with this? It's like if you're not good at if you're not good at football, like stop fucking about with it. Because David Gray's got them set up to just go and win it high. Let Levitt winning it high or Boyle or whoever. There was another one as well just after that when the centre half turned to like nonchalantly play it back to the keeper.
aye.
And he
We
got it
give it to
dead
Boyle.
straight. You're like, what are you doing? Like, what do you think you're playing? Um, they're they're absolutely. It was Gary Neville and that we're talking about in the podcast recently. I don't know if you ever listened to the Gary Neville one, but they talked about the. Sorry, I've just had breaking news. I'm going to tell you,
All
but
right.
the centre halves in the Premier League in England have got more touches on the ball than
Oh, I saw that. Aye, and
like
the
your
midfielders.
midfielders that are your
Mm,
creative players and that's because they just stand and knock it about back and forth to each other, back to the keeper to the fullback, give it the centre back, and it's fucking shite. And especially when you've got defenders that are any good at it.
mhm.
Like, why'd you do it? So Johnston came and done the same. We've done the same to them, just like pickpocketed them. Like, why are you doing it? Like, just because it's a coaching course or something. It's shite.
Aye,
Anyway, breaking news: Jack Irby got goal of the season
did he?
at
Excellent.
the PFA awards. So well done everybody who voted on that because I think it was a fans vote, wasn't it? So
Aye. Well, it was fucking well worth it. An important goal as well.
Aye,
But, you touched on, you mentioned Dylan Levitt. Anyways, you were talking there. He had a great game yesterday. So I thought Triantis was maybe a wee bit off the
yeah.
pace. Didn't he have his best game? He wasn't. I think it was terrible, but I didn't think it was at his best. But Levitt, I thought, has one of his best games in a shirt.
He's
It-
looking
it-
more comfortable and more every time, eh? And it was
Aye.
actually, I agree about Giannis. I was going to say he's a young player. He's 21, but he's on the cusp of, and he's played a long season. He's maybe not used to that. It's maybe the first time he's played that many
Mhm.
games in a season. I don't know, but he definitely the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, maybe he's not been the player he was over Christmas and that when he was really putting the performances in. So, but Levitt stepped up and almost filled that void. And you can see he's going taking the ball off the defenders. He's also getting forward and pressing high and stuff. So, and he's lasting the game. Mind you, he was only doing 60
Aye.
minutes at first.
Yeah.
So no, I think he was quite impressive yesterday. Yeah,
I think Levitt's definitely either solved the problem or given David Gray a
aye,
different problem for next season as to
yeah,
how he handles him for. Does he keep him in the squad? Does he keep him in the starting lineup, or
yeah.
because he goes into his last year of his contract? My criticism of Levitt always had never been like about his technical aspect. Always like a very capable and tidy looking player, but my criticism was always that he never looked like he wanted to impact the games. Like he never wanted to be the main man. I think we see it much more with him now. And yesterday, like there was a few times where he's showing for the ball, getting it, making the pass, but then finding the space to get the return. And he properly influenced the game yesterday. I thought he was really pivotal in the victory and the good performance. Um, I know like we can always have a laugh about like Joe Capaldi on the phone in who's been championing Levitt for a long time. But I would have this Dylan Levitt in my team every day of the week. I think he's terrific in that form. Were you a bit disappointed with Dundee United?
No, I was fucking delighted with Dundee United.
Yeah, but did you expect more from them?
I don't know because I don't think they're that great a side. Like
Mm.
I know they've been challenging, but I think they've well exceeded where they should be in the league. And I think if they finish fifth, which might be a battle for them now, because St Mirren are keeping right up there after the last couple of results. Um, I think the fifth for them's like a really good season. They've just came out the
Aye,
championship. They're no that great. They're some's greater than the what was it? Some greater than the parts and all that stuff.
aye.
Um, uh, and they're aye. So I think the other games that we've had them this season have maybe given us a false impression. The results have maybe given a false impression of how good they are because they
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't have got the win at Easter Road. Or was it a draw? I can't
A
remember.
draw.
Remember when we got the penalties?
Aye, it
Aye,
was one each.
was that one each? And then obviously did they know? And then we beat them up there. What was the other
Aye,
game?
they beat us at Tannadice the first game. Mind we were 2-1
Oh,
up,
that
and
was
then
when
aye,
Neil got sent
Bursick
off and then
and
Bursick
Neil got
chucked it
sent
in.
off. Aye, Bursick
Aye,
chucked
so,
it in.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think that we've been the better team probably in every game we've played them this season, but the results didn't reflect that.
Aye, I would agree with that. I actually think the 3-1 at Tannadice was the game that United played the best in. Out of
Mm,
the four games, I thought that was one we struggled with the most. And had their handball goals not been a handball, I
yeah,
think we might have lost that night. Obviously, they came for
yeah.
definite what would have happened, but they were definitely pinning us back at that point, and that almost swung the game when the guy handled it into the net.
It
Obviously,
did look. It did look like they've at 2-0, going on 3 or 4 by half time. It did look like they were, and obviously they came off the back of a 5 last week.
hmm
That I was thinking they're done. That's the aim for the season.
aye,
They've parked it. They're knackered. They think they've qualified. They've qualified for Europe, but I've actually since realised that they might know they're fucking burst. Was what I was thinking at half time.
aye. But they came out second half and gave us a bit of a fright. What do you attribute like we also spoke about the leadership aspect in the subs? Was there anything specific that you would attribute as sort of like getting a grip on the game again too?
Well, I think the defence gave confidence that we only got let in. Iredale was quality yesterday
Hmm.
again. Um, at sweeping up, and the encouragement he's given the other players for a leadership point of view as well. Because he is like another leader in that team. The way he plays and sweeps up and keeps everybody going and motivated. But the defence just looked comfortable. yesterday. They never, like after the 2-1, when people started getting panicky, and when we have in the past the boy band stuff, the soft centre stuff, all of that, they never. I don't think they looked like scoring a second. They had a couple of shots and that, but we weren't giving them good chances. It was almost like shoot for there, mate. You're not scoring.
Aye.
Smith took a couple of balls. He had a good game. He made a great save just before the goal, actually, as well.
Brilliant save.
Done really well for that one. I'm not sure if he caught himself on the post, or if the guy caught him on the follow through or something, or if he just went, "I'll just take a wee minute to let everybody calm down." From a leadership point of view, again, like just take the sting out.
Aye. We were having a discussion at that point in the standings whether or not we would rather. And I didn't mean this to sound as bad as it's going to sound, but would we rather have Smith play with a concussion or bring Bursick on?
Any man,
Any
any man,
man. Aye. I mean, that's harsh. I mean, no harm to Bursick. I'm only joking. I was only saying
terrible.
it for
No,
the
player,
joke. Aye. No, he's no player, but I still didn't like saying things like that. It was a funny quip. Get some comments. We'll move on to some talking points as well. John McGlynn said, "Great result. Good to see Miko get a goal and a bloodied coup for it as well. At fault for United goal and thought the game might go away from us for a bit. Our third goal killed it. Miko's performance then. So he got the goal. I thought he gave their defence a hard time for pretty much the whole time he was on. Obviously, it was a bit of a miss kick for the goal that they scored. But what did you think of his performance?"
I thought he was doing well. First half, he looked strong at times. He was kind of pushing the guys about a bit. He doesn't win many headers, but he does at least sort of put the make contact and all that stuff. Just put the defender off. Sometimes his touch bounces straight back. He doesn't take it in. But yesterday was the best he's been this season, I think. Like it was a couple
I
of
would
times I
agree.
thought he's dragged all the knee boys. He's like proper got them, and he took his goal well. He probably mishit it, but if he had hit it flush, the goalie might have saved it. You know what I mean? It's one of them where it's like, but he done really well to run for almost halfway. What was their defence then though? Like,
It was such a weird goal, eh?
mm,
Chance just sort of knocked it hopefully forward, and it's like a
aye,
clearance. It's not even like a pass, and it was almost like everybody just watched it, and then
weird. Like
it was almost like
one was
Miko realised
higher.
like
They were on a sort of angle as well. They weren't even in a
aye,
line. One was up and halfway. One was about 5-10 yards behind. The ball went through the middle, and I think he thought, "Oh, if I run for this, I'm going to get there, and I'm through and goal." It was like even
it
he was
was
thinking,
aye,
"Fuck's happened here." But he took it well. I was pleased for him. He was delighted
aye,
when he scored. He seen his reaction. He was really happy, and so was I. I think that a lot of folk were. You could hear it because he gets a lot of criticism, and
aye,
he's found goals hard to come by, and I've criticised him as well. But that's not because I didn't want him to do well. Like it's because I just think he's not played that well. But
okay,
I thought yesterday, first half especially, he was really good. Still areas to improve on, but he was as good as he's been all season for me.
aye. I can't remember, is he left because he takes the goal with his left foot. I think the way that he sort of run the ball in the box, it sat nicely for his left foot, but I didn't think it was like a natural looking swing to it. But I mean, he couldn't have placed it any better, really. I mean, right
It's
in
definitely a left foot shot, unless he runs round it to get on his right though.
aye. Because if that was a penalty going in at that spot, folk would be going fucking Ken. Talk about how good a penalty it was right in the corner.
Aye, and off the post.
hmm So um, I thought, and there was a chance to go in the second half. I think sort of nutmeg the boy out on the left hand side and then run through. Ended up getting had a couple of shots blocked and stuff like that. But I thought he had a good game. He certainly had run his race when he went off. But what was good about, like you mentioned about the players come off the bench when Bowie came on, he just picked up where Kukovic had left off and actually,
Took it up a level.
and you can see the United defence really fucking toiled with that as well. Stevie said was hard work getting that South stand to sing along with me. Tried, but just couldn't get them going. Thought the United fans were decent until we got that third goal. Did you see the guys in the chicken suits?
Aye,
They were
the
there first
KFC.
half, but no at the
It's
second
like,
half.
oh, were they on the second half?
Nah, I didn't think so.
I
I
thought
think
it was a stag do, and they probably thought game's done. Let's get back to the boozer.
then we got chucked out or something. Somebody said they were causing a bit of a nuisance, but
Oh, yeah.
who knows? Their goalkeeper blended in with them though. That's the observation I made is like he could have quite easily just sat behind the goals and you would have thought he was in the fancy dress as well. Goalie tops and that are all mental these days, eh? Like why did it have to look like highlighter pens?
Don't know. It's one for the listeners in the comments to
Aye.
let us know.
Vince
Text
said,
at 80295, in fact.
aye,
Make
text
that.
in 80295, tell us why goalkeepers have to look like highlighter pens. I wonder if there's something psychological about it. Like, you're more likely to hit it if you see it bright like that, if you're the striker. It's like, rather than avoiding it. Vince said Edinburgh's green and white, very assured performance from Hibs yesterday. G said, hi lads, watching from Warsaw. Joe said predicted 3-1. Dylan Levitt played his first full game this season. At last, David Gray fully realises his worth.
Is that Joe off the phone in?
It's Joe Levitt, yeah.
Joe, oh, listen, you said 5-1.
Did he say 5-1?
He said, I'll say 3-1, but I'm going to take 2 goals for Ian that he never used.
Oh,
And I
aye,
said,
right
well,
enough.
so
So that off for
it's
3-1.
invalid. Bookie's
Hedging
not
the
paying it.
bets.
Yep.
Ian said was quite surprised that Miller came on for Cadden and O'Hora stayed on as he got the jersey back again. Now that's an interesting one. So I actually never thought about it at the time, but that's right. O'Hora stayed on, which probably would have been the more obvious sub is to keep Cadden and have Miller slot back into the right centre back. But I thought Miller did fine when he came on as well. He was up against Middleton, who generally has quite a good game against us.
Aye.
Miller handled him well.
He only done about no more than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's what he came on for 84-ish,
Aye.
85. But aye, he did do well, aye.
So do you think that O'Hora back in the right centre back slot? Is he just going to stay there now, or do you think Miller will come back into the team to start before the season's out?
I don't know. It's Celtic next week, and Miller's generally good against Celtic,
Aye.
isn't he? So I'm not sure about that one yet. I think Miller might come back in.
It's good to have that flexibility, though, because you've got O'Hora and you've got Cadden and Miller now that can sort of interchange in those three spots.
Yeah.
Cadden probably less a natural right centre back, but
between the other two.
Aye. Stevie said, I must admit I did cringe when he came on at fullback rather than part of the three at the back. There you go, he did well though. Neil said, would you rather be in Aberdeen's position or ours? So Josh made this point when we come out, and he reckoned Aberdeen have to take something for Rangers and Celtic, which are their next two games, or third's done whether we win another point or not. That obviously doesn't take into account that Dundee United can win all their games, but our position or Aberdeen's, Colin, who would you rather be in?
I'd rather be in ours, like 3 points ahead of fourth place with a goal difference as well.
So Neil's tagged in
Does
there,
he mean
bearing in mind they've got a cup final as well.
Well, the cup final, I think I'd rather be in the cup final. Like.
So,
but I appreciate getting in third place. If you could get third place and the cup final, that's what you want, right? But third place is actually a bigger prize than the cup final, monetary wise. And next season, the amount of, I might take a couple of doings, but the actual money you can bring in, the big crowds, how many home games do you get? 3 or 4? Well, 3 in the group stages, plus whatever you've had in the rounds before that. Is it 3? I don't know. I think it's 3 home games.
They've changed it with that. I've not paid attention.
Well, they do that big long league table now, but rather than take groups. But I think it'll be 3 plus the Europa qualifier. So at least 4 home games. Big home games might get a big Euro. But anyway, the money that you get for that prize money wise is bigger than the cup. Getting beat in a cup final.
Aye. I suppose if you win the cup, it's different because you take that European spot, doesn't it?
Exactly. That's double bubble, eh? And the good feeling of winning the cup.
That's really kind of where the twist in the season might still come. I think right. So, know that I'm making a proclamation about what we're doing, but I think we are firm favourites for third. I think it's like outlandish to say, like, I'm not getting ahead of myself to say we're firm favourites for third now because of how the results went at the weekend. Obviously, no, it's not a stick on and things can change and not getting carried away. But there is that it's going to go right to the cup final, really, like for us to know what's going to happen. So it's fucking exciting, but we'll as long as we do our bit, I didn't really care. Stevie said, why did Boyle try cutting the ball back when he was in a perfect position to shoot and only 6 yards out?
I don't know. I was willing him to shoot there as well, and I'm normally the first to moan about him being greedy. But no, he definitely could have got a shot away earlier, I think.
Haley just said about Iredale winning the goal of the season. John said I was worried he was going to come off and end up with Bursic back in, looked Assyrian on the telly. Stevie said, I think we'll draw. I think 5 points. I think we'll draw with Celtic and Sevco and beat St Mirren. Although St Mirren is a real banana skin game. Sandy said as Aberdeen found out, and there's a bit of chat about Nisbet's goal getting disallowed. I thought it was right to disallow it, but I would say
Well, it's
that
because you
because
get an advantage, though. It's
aye,
not. It's not because it was deliberate or anything. It's because they got an advantage out of it. I just watched that earlier on the St Mirren thing, we could probably do with Dundee United getting a draw or beating them next weekend.
mhm,
Because if they beat Dundee United, then we play them in the midweek after that, and they'll be, they can catch Dundee United. So going through there when they're still in the European race is a
aye,
lot harder than going through when it's a bit of dead rubber.
aye,
So
totally.
hopefully hopefully Dundee United can get a draw with them at the weekend minimum, and then put them out the race.
I think it's brilliant. Again, we spoke about it before, like the split and like with the teams all being tight together. It's brilliant that they're still getting all the games, apart from funnily enough the one that happened today. All the games were meaningful. The days like game was pretty much the only one that had nothing riding on it at all. Um, Green Tea said we must have been good yesterday. Goodwin admitted we were the better team. I was expecting him to complain about us, the ref, VAR, or the linesman.
Doing that to
Um,
everybody else this weekend, eh? See Tony
aye.
Dock, fucking hell.
Oh, that was a mental one as well. So Mikey, this is the problem, right? Is that you get pundits that didn't help the conversation because Mikey Stewart was on the Twitter talking about how it was a
Aye.
shocking decision. I thought it was like a fucking obvious offside, boys.
Is this
Boys,
because the guy's come back and tackled the defender as he's trying to
aye.
clear
So the
it?
boys try to clear it. He's come back for an offside position and tried to. And I think Mikey Stewart's argument is it doesn't touch the ball, but it seems you're challenging for it. You're still interfering with
Putting the
fucking
guy off.
play.
Well, I've just said about Miko doesn't win many headers, but he goes up and puts the defender off by challenging them, and that's what you
Aye,
want. All that make contact stuff that they tell you, it's like get in and just put the guy off.
aye.
Like that's what he's done, and the defenders then sort of made a shitey clearance, but the boys pinged it as well, which doesn't help when you
Beat you
get
a
a crack
goal.
goal like that
Aye.
and disallowed, But
It was the same as the one that St Johnstone scored on the cup final week, and they pull that back for a push at halfway,
uh,
and it's like a proper world that the boys
I've not
scored.
seen that one. Yeah,
Oh, it was a peach boys. I think it was maybe like 20 yards out, find it like the top corner, kind of against Celtic in a
uh,
cup final. You'd be like, even though you're losing, you'd still be remembering that for all your days. And then they bring it back to like the fucking softest wee push in the.
was that the semi-final a couple of weeks ago you're talking about?
Oh, it was a semi final. Of course it was. I'm
Yeah.
talking about a cup final. It was a semi final. I'm just getting ahead of myself with. Um, Aye, Sandy pointing out that Goodwin complained about his squad size on Sports. I think he said they had
Aye,
the second biggest or second smallest squad in the league.
should have bought more players
Um,
then.
Aye, Stevie said, "What's your views on Dalby? I reckon he could do a job with us. Wrexham don't want him. Would you take him at Hibs?" So if you were to consider we probably not have Miko next season because he's on the loan, would Dalby be a suitable
Well,
replacement for you?
I didn't think he'd done much yesterday, but he scored a lot of goals this season in the league. So just based on that, he would appear to be it would appear to be a reasonable signing. But I didn't watch a lot of I watch sports scene and that, but I didn't pay an awful lot of attention to other teams' players. I'm not one of these guys that go the ins and outs of the numbers and that other gate players are given. I just know he scored a lot of goals in this league. But yesterday I thought he was non-existent. I didn't think he had. Did he even
Aye,
have a shot on goal? Can't remember.
again, a shot first half of the edge of the box. It was straight in they just kind of trundled through
Right.
to Smith to pick it up. Um, Stevie said agreed Colin Iredale was a leader. And Ian said thought Goodwin made a mistake not starting Middleton and had a free header to go 2-2, said Jack. Um, Paul said Miko and Boyle pressed that defence, seemed to have both have a plan. Miko, great performance so far. Green Tea says like button, folks. Yep, remember to hit the like button. Thank you, Green Tea. Um, Davey Granio said, evening guys, we did the business yesterday. The highlights looked good. And Stevie confirmed that the chicken soup guys did leave at half time. Right, I'm going to go to the Blue Sky talking points. What we've got there. So Jeff is first up. And Jeff said, this team is a great togetherness and mentality. Maybe the signing good characters wasn't such a bad thing. I thought Campbell and especially Bowie made a huge difference when they came on. Hoylett, fantastic first half. So the good character thing, Colin, we could talk about. Actually, we're going to speak about recruitment on extra time. We spoke about this at the start of the season. We had some challenges, I suppose, on how players were recruited. Not necessarily to say that we'd signed bad players, but just how we'd signed them was the question
Perception
mark
of
that we
it.
had. Aye.
Yeah.
If you go back to the conversations that the kind of club had, a director of football in, to Brian McDermott, who was replaced by Malcolm Mackay, and the signing policy was kind of players that had been at the club before or
Yeah.
knew the coaching staff and so on, or with other players' brother. And we had the question mark about how did we end up kind of signing them when we've got our recruitment policy, and we had it explained to us. Malcolm Mackay kind of told us that the recruitment setup wasn't as he wanted it to be, so it was almost like kind of try to cobble together as best they can with what they had. And I think when you look at how the team's done, you can't argue with the recruitment in the summer. It's been really good. I think Bursick is probably the only miss out of it. You would say, I mean, like Ekpateta's not really featured since he got injured, but he was looking like
Aye.
he was coming on a game, or has been in and out of the team. But by and large, I think our team's better than it was
There's a
last
couple of
season.
don't knows, isn't there? But
Mhm.
aye, definitely. I mean, yeah.
And the togetherness and mentality. There's an argument to say that comes with winning, the way like I think things it's much easier to have that team spirit when you're winning all the time, but that was sort of formed through the shit times. I think, Like I think that this is
Well,
a team
that's
that's come through adversity to get to the good time.
which probably enhances it again though,
Hmm.
because then they realise we're doing the right thing here because it's actually working. Like it wasn't, and we're doing that, and it's working. So it will. Aye. But you're right because that was Joe Newell got a lot of credit for that. Remember him?
Hmm. Aye, I remember him. Saw him at the before the game, just down in the dugout, not to speak to him, just as a reminder that he was there. And a couple of folk had spotted him out in the wild as well. I saw a few photos on Facebook where he'd been at Asda, I think, doing some messages.
All right, Asda. Last
Aye,
time I saw him was Marks and Spencer's. I thought he was maybe a bit richer than Asda, but
well,
hey, no offence to Asda shoppers.
that's it. If that helps, Colin.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Tesco?
Don't know.
Don't
One
know.
of them.
Aye. Bruski said WAFM. So we quote from Hibs Allison. I think it means we're fucking massive, but
Aye.
I don't know, right? I'll be honest. I'm going to say that's what it is, though. Alison can correct us. Part Fry's image said Tifo with a tick. Sign the right way up. Tick. That was the banner. The Block 7's no longer,
Yep.
uh, you know,
Protesting.
Club Nevis or whatever it was. It's now back to being Block 7. Quick start and strikers scoring, tick. Cope with the setback, tick. Subs at positively impact, tick. And Cadden finds Gale in the box, tick. Gray is making Easter Road a fortress, and it's all in our own hands. Cadden picked up that ball on the left hand side, and you can that cross was going right onto Gale's head. As soon as he got to his feet,
I'm sure my arms were in the air before they'd scored it because you think, why is another team just alive? It was the same. What game was it when Bowie did the diving header? You like the Bucket McCadden, everybody knew he was just
Dundee.
got to ping it in and
Aye.
somebody said. And that one, you look at it, and I look at the ball went at his feet, and I looked up and I seen Gale standing on his Todd, and I thought, we're going to score. Just,
Brilliant, eh? Like
ah,
it must be great if you're a striker to have that in your team. So I just need to pick up a good position in the box, and that ball's going
yeah,
to come into me.
yeah.
Because it's not like Cadden had loads of opportunities to pick crosses in. Can you're talking about like
Well, he only
a
came on at 85 minutes or
aye,
something.
like a high success rate for not a lot to work with.
Yeah.
Um, Roboito said death taxes and Jim Goodwin getting pumped at Easter Road. Score flattered United could easily have been 5 or 6 scored. And Rafa said another fantastic home performance. Should have been more in the end. Serious question if Gale is retiring and Nisbet is available, should we consider him? Kevin Nisbet, would he be an option for you, Colin?
Again, he's proven in the league, but we're trying to sign good characters, and I'm not convinced that's what he is. He's agitated for moves at two his teams. He never looks
Mm-hmm.
happy. He seems to be a bit an angry individual. Um, he scored some good goals for us, and he scored a cracking goal last week.
Aye,
So I don't know, based on the recruitment policy, which we can't argue with. Like I'm not taking the piss out of there. Like the recruitment policy, good guys,
aye.
good people, whatever the actual terminology is we're using. I don't know. By the way, he might be great. Like I
So I
don't.
think I
It's
think the
just
Aberdeen players have voted him for their player of the year. So it can't be that bad in because if he was a total prick,
yeah,
they would just no vote for him.
true.
Um, we comment on the goalie tops. David Granier says goalie tops have to be different to the outfield player tops. I miss the '90s mad goalie tops. Also, why do modern goalie ones not have long sleeves? and he remembered Josh Campos, the Mexico keeper, and his wild tops. He did have some Raj ones. On Twitter, Chris, so I met Chris before the game as well, just up in the West Stand. Chris said, "Nice to meet you before the game, Matty. Thought Iredale, Hoylett, and Levitt had a really good first half. Then we dropped right off until the substitutions. A quick thought though, not one of their players would get into our starting 11. Keep going, guys. 3 more games to go." Would you take any, like we spoke about Dalby, anybody else for that team that you would consider for ours based on what you've seen of them so far?
Oh, again, man, 3 or 4 matches I've seen them. Can't think of anybody.
Keeper had a good game against us. He had that double save
Yeah,
in the first half. Although I
straight up.
think aye, the one in the second half that Campbell had the shot. I think it was the defender that cleared that. He should have scored there, Campbell. I think, but he's
That
hit the
was good.
target.
Good defending, though.
Aye, that was good defending. I thought he should have. The game should have could have been put to bed at that point. But
Yeah,
I didn't really care. Like I said at the time, and Josh was like, "Well, he's got to pass the keeper. What more are you wanting?" And I think that's probably like a fair
and he's
argument
been
to be
good in the
honest.
middle.
Aye.
The goals, good height for the defender and all that.
SDG said previous Hibs teams would have crumbled at 2-1 and gone on to draw or lose. This team has character and resilience in abundance, and weathered United's 15-minute spell before regaining the upper hand. Rocky now especially personifies this. We have to keep him. Rocky was brilliant again yesterday. Like, just doesn't he put a foot wrong? Like,
No, he did. To be honest, I never really noticed him yesterday. He made a couple of good tackles,
mm,
but because he was. But that's what I want for a defender. Like, don't take that as a criticism. Like, I didn't want to be noticing, um, because I noticed him far too often in the past.
aye,
Usually because of something he had done. But yesterday he just strolled it. But I thought Iredale was a standout defender yesterday.
aye.
Albeit it's playing really well though.
Obita had a great game. Again, talk about leadership. Obita, I
Yeah.
thought, put in like a proper, like a lead by example
You can
performance.
understand how Cadden's no starting.
Hmm.
Because Albeit is bringing something, but he's not got that what Cadden gives us. But then it's like at Parkhead next week, you think, well, are we looking for a more defensive player out there, or are we looking for somebody that can just pick somebody out to sneak a 1-0 or a 1-0?
Aye.
By the way, on that next week, and I know we're not talking about next week, I was talking to my brother-in-law earlier on. He said after the Old Firm game of the day that Roger says some of these boys need a rest.
Well,
So
that's
fingers crossed, because if I can rest them next week, play them against Aberdeen, rest them the week after, then you've got your cup final to play for.
aye.
That's what I'm hoping's happening.
If you're listening, Brendan. Um, Gaz on Safari said, "I've noticed loads of tourists at games recently. I always hope they go away happy and entertained. Personally thought that was a cracking game of football, second half especially. I questioned Hoylett for Campbell, but it swung the game back in our favour. Bowie was brilliant when he came on, much more mobile than Miko. Great win." Josh Campbell came in for a lot of criticism last week for not having his best or the best of games. He did. He put it right yesterday, didn't he? I mean that sub went. I'm like I can think of your WhatsApp group and some of the reaction on Twitter when the sub happened, and folk weren't really that happy about Hoylett going off for Campbell. But I think
Yeah.
Gray's totally vindicated. But
I thought Hoylett was tiring, so
Mhm.
I don't mind that. I do. I know where I was sitting. There was folk moaning. I had a couple of Archie McPherson types not far behind me. That were that was me that knocked that door open. I
Was
don't know
it?
if you've seen that on YouTube.
I
It
thought you
was
maybe had
about
a
to burst
ghost.
in. Somebody about to burst in with a cup of tea. I moved my seat and I banged the door. Anyway, there was a couple of as I was saying, Archie McPherson types that commentate on every fucking thing. Now, to be fair to them, a lot of the stuff they said I agreed with.
Hmm.
So it wasn't as bad. Kim, it's worse when you get the guy sitting behind you that just talk shit. These guys actually, I thought, you're saying the right things, but go and shut the fuck up. Um, they weren't that keen on Campbell coming on, and they were moaning like the first 3-4 times he either never challenged for a ball or he lost the ball or he didn't go towards it when it was coming towards him and stuff. But I thought maybe after the first 5 minutes or 10 minutes of him being on, he got a good half hour, didn't
Aye.
he? The last 20 Kingday, he came onto a game. I thought he done well. I wasn't. I was happy with the sub. I liked Hoylett. I thought Hoylett was really good first half, but I did think second half it was almost like, and it could have been like Gray signaling to the team, fucking sharpen your ideas up here, like
Hmm.
because it was just at the end of that 15-minute spell Dundee United got, and that's where it turned back again in our favour. Whether that was due to the Campbell sub or not, or due to that signal being sent on, or just coincidence that we're a good team and we're better than them. But
A bit of everything, eh?
aye, it was definitely that was a bit of a turning point back in his favour when he came on. Saying it was all down to him, but it was.
It was definitely something that Jim Goodwin mentioned about the Dundee United TV guy who was doing the interview with him. I'd said, like, you look at the subs that Hibs bring on, and you must find that like difficult. And then Goodwin started talking about the quality of Hibs team, but it must be great for Gray to be sitting looking at it and going, like we spoke about it, put subs on and you're no weakening the team at all. Like, in fact, it freshened the team up and made us stronger, which is
Which has
great.
happened a couple of times now.
Mhm.
But then that's the thing, like, because some of these guys that are on the bench are probably saying I should be starting, so they're coming on with a point to prove. And actually, if they started, nobody would bat an eyelid, really. Like what you're saying, there's 3 changes, and that was the 3 what you anchor. I'm like, all right, I wouldn't have picked them, but you know what, I'm all right with it.
Aye,
And it would, it would be the one I would have picked maybe on the bench, thinking the same. But then next week it might be a different 3 that change, and again it'll be like, well, but it just means that if you're bringing a beat on to calm the game down because Cadden's came on and created a goal or something, you're going, well, I would have started the beater, but you know what? How can you ignore Nicky Cadden? You know what I mean?
aye,
It's great strength and depth. And that's what we spoke about but all the times when we were getting beat, what we need is like have folk on the bench that look to replace the best players we've got, and that's still the task for this season. As much as everybody
yeah.
just wants to sign this team again next year, you need to bring in players that are better than what you've got, and then and that's how you gradually continually improve, isn't it?
Aye.
Like couple of players again that are better than what we've got, and I don't know what positions they are. But that's what we need to do to take the next step up and the next step up.
Is that genuine competition for places? Isn't it? Like, you can't
Uh,
afford to have a bad game because somebody's at the back, that'll
but
take
look
your
at Lewis
place.
Miller. Probably
Aye,
last week because he was off sick. He's thinking, "Fuck's sake,
aye.
back at the team. Am I back in this week just because he was off ill?
Just signed a
Can't
new
help
contract as well, kind of
it."
extension. It'd be like, fuck's sake. Like,
Aye.
but aye, better up your game, Lewis. Uh, Dave Hibbs said, Miko, same game first half looked like it could have been whatever we wanted it to be. Second half, a little nervy. Definitely needed the third goal. Big games, big wins. Let's get something next week. Hibs till I die said there's so many players rightfully getting praised, but I don't think Jordan Smith gets enough. He has made a massive difference. When he got injured, I was absolutely dreading Bursick having to come on. Whoever we get in next year surely has to be a backup to him. Uh, so it's, the chat is that Paulson's coming in from Auckland. I don't think that's like any sort of like mad revelation. Like, it's been in the
Although there's
paper and
folk trying to
thing.
claim in the nose on it, like if you read the
Aye,
message boards and stuff, and you're like,
there
the
is.
fucking boy said that about a month ago.
Aye,
Like,
Tim Bezbatchenko had come out and said it, but obviously nothing's set in stone. Like, as we know, these things can sometimes fall through. From what I've seen of Paulson, you kind of see some of his highlights on YouTube, and he's been getting some rave reviews. Auckland won the A League, I think. Actually, see if you look right across all the Black Knight teams, then I know that they came out to spend any time on that. Auckland won the league. Lorient got promoted. Bournemouth, they just beat Arsenal at the Emirates, and they're good for a European slot. And then Hibs sitting in third. It's not a bad season that
yeah,
they've had as a group. But the boy Paulson looks like he's a seriously good goalkeeper. So I'm destined for good things. So
I
I think
don't
if
think though. Just on that guy's point,
mhm.
sorry, I've never picked up the name, but just on the point there, that we should be looking to sign backups.
No.
We should be looking to sign somebody better. And they might turn out to be on the bench, but
Mhm.
because they've come into training and the other guys, and that's for all positions, not just the goalkeeping. But that's just to the previous point. We shouldn't be looking at what we need is we need backup for Nicky Cadden. No, we don't. We need somebody better than
Aye.
Nicky Cadden.
We've got we've got John McGlinchey's right. I'm off for the F1. Night all, love yous, and remember to press like. Night John. I
Fucking
like it.
Formula One.
He signs eyes. I don't know what happens
I
to the
suppose if you watch the first lap or two, then you could come back on after it, and then you can catch the last 2 laps
saying
later.
aye, wouldn't again.
Just about work out when the pit stops will be because that's the other exciting bit.
Is it the start? You watch the start, and then the pit stops, and
The
then when
middle
it
bit.
finishes.
Hmm.
But I like that John. John always signs off for the we love yous. um, Hi, me, Chris. Just I got a notification of welcome to Top Bangers to sign up as a YouTube member. Welcome, Chris. Hope you enjoy the extra content that you get. Ian T said, "Gargantuan. We need more superlatives." That's an outstanding point, isn't it? We do need more superlatives.
Mm.
Is Gargantuan effectively sum up that performance or the magnitude of the result?
It was huge. That was a massive game,
Mm.
to win. If we had lost that, we would have been. You know what, the radio on that, like they hardly mentioned it yesterday. Like I got back to the car quite sharp because it was in the west, cut through Laurie Riley and into the car park, around the back, and I dropped my daughter's pal off as well, and then got home all the way. Then I came in, I was cooking when I got home, and I put it on because it was an Aberdeen fan when I got home, and I thought, wait, listen to this cunt, and never mentioned Hibs until we were playing Andy Halliday's fucking karaoke song,
Aye,
like, and I'm like, and I just switched it off. I thought, what's the point? Like, what? That's going to be the biggest game in the league yesterday. Well,
mm.
Hearts Ross County, a big relegation game, I suppose. But there's two. They barely mentioned that. They gave you a match report. Steve McGinn. That was it.
Aye.
And I think
I
if we had lost that game, back to the point, I suppose that how big it was for us. If we had lost that, they would have all been gone. Oh, their bottle jobs. They might not even finish fifth. The Mirren's on their tail,
Aye.
which wouldn't. Well, probably not true. But like they would be pushing the fifth place thing. It's and I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything, but how did they miss that out of their coverage?
I just think it was mental. So I did the same. I'd paused it on the BBC Sounds app. So when I was driving back from dropping my dad off, it was more or less the whole hour like you get. And I was like going, fucking hell, they're running out of time to get us on. And then I was like, oh, they're just not going to play us. We're going to get 3 songs for Andy Halliday and a bit of a preview of the Old Firm game. And they're not going to talk about Hibs beating
And they
Dundee
play the
United.
whole song, eh?
Aye,
I thought they would just play a clip because I've listened to the podcast before sometimes, and you normally just get the clip, but it's the whole fucking song they play.
aye.
Come on, guys, you've
It
lost
was,
3 minutes of crucial fucking bit more time
aye.
here.
The biggest game, and it was like a good game. And it wasn't even like it was like a shitey 0-0. You know, where you can sort of go, there's 4 goals in the game. And well, Green Teas just made the point the programme was all about Hearts from pre to post match. And it was like a proper everything about Hearts. Now's not the time to talk about it, but they're mind the other. I can't remember the name of the company that they're using for
Data analytics, aye.
the analytics. They're just chucking it out the window. They made a big song and dance about getting Critchley using
Yeah,
the analytics. Their fans are denying that now
aye,
as well
I
because
noticed that.
we called it out when they were started talking about it for this one. I'm fucking, you said Critchley was analytics, and they're going, no, they just lied about that because we
Because
offered
Mikey
it to
Stewart
somebody else.
spoke about it on the radio at the
Aye,
time if it had been analytics.
they said they
Because he was
spoke it.
questioning that at the time.
Aye,
He was wanting to use the eyes rather than the data.
and now they're just going get fucking John McGlynn
Aye.
or Derek McInnes.
Steve
So
Robinson,
they've gone it's fucked it with one, and they've
tick
gone
the
nah, we'll
tick the
just
Scotland only box or
aye,
something on the spreadsheet.
fucking mental. Well, that kind of ties into what we're going to talk about next time. I'm not going to talk about Hearts on extra time, but uh, we'll have a bit of chat about it. Right, anyway, we're almost at time, right? So we've got Baz said magnificent 3 points. Got a wee bit nervous, but absolutely delighted. We could and should have scored more. Stephen Lumsden said absolutely brilliant yesterday. The strength of our subs is brilliant. Imagine having to face Boyle and Miko for 60 or 70 minutes, then seeing Bowie and Gale coming on to finish the game.
I know.
Levitt was tremendous again. I thought
Gale's been a
Chase,
great signing, eh?
eh?
Gale's been a great signing.
Aye,
Like
tremendous.
for a setting standards probably point of view, chipping in with some crucial goals. Or I say crucial goals, obviously the derby at Christmas,
Hmm.
but even just the goals he's coming on and scoring to take the heat out of games, to sting out it. To give us a 2 goal advantage and stuff.
Aye, I'm just trying to find a
Yeah.
comment on YouTube. Okay, what happens, right? So for the YouTube comments, now I'm a big fan of this, by the way, and I'm not suggesting anybody changes because it's good. It's heartwarming. Is at the start of the night, it starts off quite easy, kind of follow the talking points on it and pick them out. And for about the last 15, 20 minutes, just a big chat with everybody. Yeah. Kind of for
All
folk
right.
asking, "Can where do you live? Who's your English team and everything?" So none today
All
what
right.
we're talking about, right? And I can't. But somebody asked about how do we keep Gale and Hoylett for next year, like because they've been so uh, sort of integral to the season. But I can't see who made. There's too many too many messages there for me to find who said it. So apologies for no crediting it. You mentioned him there, Colin, about being like like what a great signing he's been. So would you be like sort of moving mountains to try and get him to sign on for another year?
I'll definitely be asking him. Definitely be asking him, but just because I think he only comes on and plays 15, 20 minutes, I think he can do half an hour comfortably, but I don't think he could play much more than that. But it's more being around the team that he seems to be like another leader. I noticed like yesterday when they took Boyle off, Cadden went off as well, and Boyle normally gives Cadden the captain's armband, but I don't think they gave it to anybody when he
I
came
don't know,
off.
I never noticed.
But Gales often had it when Cadden's went off, and I wondered if it came straight on as a captain, but nobody. It means nothing.
Never
It's just
mind.
an
Aye.
armband. I just wondered who the cap because he seems to be in that leadership group if we've got one.
Mm-hmm.
But eh, aye, we've got a few of them now.
Ross Young said lock him in the flat, we kept Bojanging. You're not getting
Punishment is a
curtains till
jail.
you sign an extension. Just keep matches away from them. Tracy Smith said maybe some should stay away from their keyboards when the team is announced. Just a thought. Sometimes the meltdown before we've even kicked the ball is unbelievable. I still think that's mad now, right? So at this point in the season, so I kind of got it. Like, see, earlier in the season, we were losing a lot, right? Not
Yeah,
necessarily like a reflection of the performances, but when we were losing a lot and players were as like a natural consequence of that, folk gets scapegoated. So when their names are on the team sheet, you folk go, oh, for fuck's sake, and have a moan about it. See, when you've been on like a 17 game unbeaten run, this is our eighth or was our eighth home win in a row. Surely you get to a point where you go, they came what they're doing. I'm not going to moan about it. Kind of like I've got
yeah,
faith in what the manager's picking and the players that he's picking. But I didn't feel like I need to kick off about fucking any name on that list. You're
mm.
going, right, I am all right with that. Like we talked about it at the start, can you be upset about any of the changes? Nah, you can understand all of them. Does you make a case for it? But still, folk are moaning about the subs, moaning about a tiny amount of folk as well. It's important to make
I know
the
that's
vast
the thing.
majority of
It's
folk
just a
go,
noisy minority, isn't
aye.
it?
The vast majority of
Yeah,
folk are all just sort of accept it. It's all right to have an opinion on it. I think that's
yeah.
aye. This is how you express it, I suppose. Right. David O'Rourke said, big risk that we may lose Jack Ardett with Real Madrid in the summer boys class. And last one, because we're just conscious of time, Raymond Gray said, Sir David Gray deserves great credit for managing a difficult second half to the game. He had a bit of criticism for selections last week, but positive substitutions in the last 10 minutes made all the difference today. Very good team performance, stuck together when the going got tough. Right, we're out of time, Colin. We will be back tomorrow with extra time. Right, to get extra time, you have to be a subscriber. You can do that by doing what Chris did earlier on the chat, and that's through joining on YouTube. You'll see a wee button if that's where you're watching it. But if you're listening to this on the podcast or you didn't want to sign up on YouTube, you can go to Patreon and search for Long Bangers. You get a 7-day free trial. You get access to all the subscriber content on that. But extra time's an episode that we put out exclusive to subscribers every single week, where we take a half hour and we sort of drill down on one particular topic. So tomorrow night we're going to talk about recruitment and the recruitment process and what we might expect to, I don't know, what we might expect to see in the summer window, not necessarily in terms of player names, but just in terms of how it'll work. So that'll be a good chat, but that'll be out then. If you do want to subscribe, you want to help us out anyway, just click the resubscribe button on YouTube and that helps you get a wee notification when we go live. Anyway, thanks very much everybody who left comments, left talking points, etc. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. Pleasure speaking to you as always, Colin. And we will see you next time.